Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. What is the last concept? Single attribute. Okay. Online students. Well, online student. Okay. Okay. Right. Let's complete on this. Oh. So the one we have been taking care about in identifying with object, or we can considering that, right? So the requirement is we need to be get identifying with the object, or which need to be get considering that element here. As part of Selenium automation, we need to be get taking care about in identifying object. Further, in Selenium, we used to be get taking with the help of inspect option. While working this particular inspect option, you will be taking with the help of 8 types of techniques. In that, the one you will be mentioning that name and then ID, considering the class, tag name, CSS, link text, and partial link text here, right? So as part of Selenium automation, we need to be taking care about identifying with object with the help of these techniques here. While working these particular techniques, working with name and then considering the ID and then considering the class followed with the same steps here. If we get consider name and then ID and then class, if you want to be get work with these particular techniques, we need to be get taking care about in having with HTML code. Just we need to be take reference of HTML code. Based on that HTML code, we need to be get identified that particular respective object here. Along with that, apart from that, we need to be get taking care about one more option that will, if we get mention this particular xpath, if we get considering xpath, the very first understanding. What is the meaning of xpath? Meaning of xpath? Group of nodes. The meaning of this particular xpath. So the meaning of this particular xpath, we need to be considering the group of nodes. Mean as simple as meaning of the node. Meaning of the node. In between of, less than and greater than symbol. According to HTML, in between of, less than and greater than symbol, we need to be considering that is one particular node. When you are combining, when you are grouping that particular nodes, that will be considering the xpath. While working this particular xpath, how many types we got? How many types? 2 types here. What are the 2 types? The one will be mentioning the absolute xpath. What is another one? Which it will be mentioning the relative xpath. So the one we need to be mentioning the absolute xpath. Meaning of absolute xpath. What is the meaning of absolute xpath? Starts with HTML tag, which need to be start with HTML tag. The xpath, in case of started with HTML tag, that will be considering the absolute xpath. At the same time, we got relative xpath. Meaning of relative xpath? Starts with attribute. We can mention the attribute. Or you can mention the considering the unique attribute. You can mention the attribute or you can considering the unique attribute here. Okay. So now, while working this particular xpath, we can work with absolute xpath or we can work with relative xpath here. And then need to be considering the working with this particular xpath. While working this particular xpath, if it is working, okay. In case of these 2 xpath also not working. In case of these 2 xpath also not working, we can try with another option. What is that option? In xpath, if these 2 options are not working, what is another option we can use? Xpath with attributes. We need to be mentioning the xpath with attributes here. In case of these options are not working, you need to be mentioning the xpath with attributes here. Okay. So now we need to be mentioning about taking with attributes. While working with attributes, under attributes, what are the options we got? Xpath with single attribute. The one we need to be mentioning the xpath with single attribute. What is another one? Xpath with multiple attribute. The one you will be mentioning the xpath with single attribute, xpath with multiple attribute. What is another option? Xpath with text attribute. Xpath with text attribute. What is another option? Xpath with contains. After that, xpath with starts with. So it's not like only these particular options. We got other options also available. but mainly need to be get comfortable in utilizing these particular options here. In that, we need to be get understand that we need to be get understand that how we can work with. We need to be get understand that how we can work with these particular options here. Okay. So now you can try with one option. What is the first option we got? What is the first option? XPath with single attribute. Meaning of single attribute? Meaning of single? Only one. So you need to be take any one attribute. You need to be take with the help of any one attribute and need to be get understand that how we can work with this particular XPath. In that we need to be get taking with the syntax. In case of single attribute, what is the syntax need to be followed? First is 2 forward slashes. First we need to be get provide 2 forward slashes. Then you will be taking with HTML tag name and then considering the square brackets and mentioning the @ symbol. After that, considering the attribute type equal to in a single code, you need to be get mentioning about attribute value. So we need to be get mentioning the attribute type equal to attribute value. Whatever the object you want to identify, so whatever the object you want to identify, you need to be get followed with the same steps here. Now, according to these particular steps, let's consider username text box. Let's consider username text box doing with right click activity. Once you done with the right click, what is option you will get? What is option you will get? Inspect. Once you done with inspect, you need to refer only highlighted one. You are not worried about the whole HTML code. You need to be just taking care about highlighted one. In the highlighted one, considering the taking with tag name we got. What is the tag name we got? Tag name is, so now what are the attributes? Name is one type, another attribute, one more attribute, index, another attribute, which you will be taking with name option. You will be taking with name option. So you can utilize any of the option. You can utilize any of the option. For now, we need to be get taking with the name. So for now, we need to be get use this particular name attribute. For that, providing 2 forward slashes. What is the tag name we got? What is the tag name we got? Input. Providing with @ taking with name attribute equal to, you need to be provide that particular name. Okay. So you can try for any object followed with the same syntax to confirm that whether it is correct or not. To confirm that either it has been correct or not. From the keyboard, what do we have to press? What is it? Control F. From the keyboard, you will be taking with Control F. You need to be provide XPath. You need to be get provide XPath. What you have been created. Just click on enter. Refer the application. In the application, anything is highlighting? In the application, which one is highlighting? Which one is highlighting? That text box name. I mean, it has been highlighting with login text box here. So that is how you can considering that. That is how you can mentioning that, saying that the XPath what we have been written is the correct one here. Okay. And then mentioning about taking with another object. Any object you want to try, any object you want to be try, followed with the same concept. Any object you want to be try, followed with the same concept. For example, assume that you want to be take with clear button. You want to be take with clear button. Doing with right click and then taking with inspect. Once you done with inspect, you will be getting with highlighted line. What is the tag name we got? What is the tag name we got? Input. What are the attributes we got? Type is one attribute. Name is one more attribute. Value is one more attribute. Class is one more attribute. Tab index, one more attribute. Based on your comfortable, you can try with any attribute. I'm just trying with value attribute. Now we can say that taking with this particular value attribute. As simple as considering that two forward slashes. What is the tag name? Input. Taking with the tag name is input. And then considering that at the rate taking with value. Value equal to in a single code. You need to be get provide that particular value. Okay. So now I can say that if we get consider this particular one, to cross check that either it is correct or not. To cross check that either it has been correct or not. You will be taking with HTML code from the keyboard. What do we have to press? From keyboard, Control F, providing that particular XPath. Now we can see, click on enter. What is highlighting? If we click on enter, which one is highlighting? In the application, which one is highlighting? Clear button has been highlighting. So this is what we need to be get mentioning that. Taking care about. This is what we need to be get mentioning that and taking care about writing this particular XPath. So the one you will be considering that XPath with single attribute. So the technique we got mentioning that XPath with single attribute. Okay. In a similar way, we got another technique. What is another technique? What is another one? Multiple attribute. Meaning of multiple? More than one. It can be two. It can be three. It can be 100. We are not worried. As simple as the meaning of multiple attribute. The meaning of multiple attribute. You need to be provide more than one particular attribute. Now we can see that what exactly the syntax need to be followed. So what exactly the syntax need to be get followed? Let's see here. As simple as followed with the same concept. As simple as followed with the same concept, mentioning the technique name. What is the name of the technique? XPath with multiple attribute. XPath with multiple attribute here. Okay. So now we can see that. See the concept here. Mentioning taking with the syntax, writing with the syntax, providing the HTML tag name, providing the HTML tag name, and then taking with square brackets. This particular square brackets, it will be taking with @ symbol, mentioning the @ symbol, and considering the attribute type equal to in a single code. Attribute type equal to in a single code. You need to be provide attribute value. Okay. Now the technique. What is the name of the technique? XPath with multiple attributes. You need to be add one more square bracket. As simple as how many attributes you want to be added. How many attributes you want to be added. You need to be go with that many square brackets here. There is no limit. It depends on availability of the attributes. It depends on availability of the attributes here. Now, according to requirement, you can work with any attributes here. As simple as @ symbol, attribute type equal to in a single code, you need to be provide attribute value. So this is what the syntax need to be followed. This is what the syntax need to be followed to work with XPath with multiple attribute. Okay. Now, see the step. For example, you want to identify login button. Requirement is need to be identify login button. Doing the right click. What is option? Inspect. Once you done with the inspect, getting the highlighted one? Getting or not? Okay. In this highlighted one, you will be taking with tag name. In this highlighted one, you will be taking with tag name. What is the tag name we got? Input. So we'll be taking with tag name is input. What are the attributes we got? Type is one attribute. Name is one more attribute. Value is one more attribute. Class is one more attribute. Now we can see which will take that. So now we can see that how we can utilize. Taking with 2 forward slashes. What is the next syntax here? HTML tag name. What is the tag name? Input. The multiple. Meaning of multiple? More than one. So let me try with name option. Name. Okay. Assume that you work with. You need to another option. So need to be taking with another option. Taking with @ you got name attribute which you will be taking. You will be taking with considering the value equal to in a single code you need to be provided. Equal to in a single need to be provided. So name attribute, considering the name attribute, and then taking value attribute. There is no restriction. There is no restriction based on tester comfortable is any of the options here. So the one is path with single attribute, another one is xpath multiple attribute here. You may get in a doubt, sir, single attribute already working, then why we required multiple attribute? A single attribute already working, why multiple attribute? So why we require multiple attribute? As single attribute is already working, why you require multiple attribute? So as simple as Selenium guide provided these options. In Selenium, you got these options here. Which option it depends on tester comfortable. Which option need to use it? It depends on tester comfort. First you tried one option that is working. You are not. If one option is working, you are not worried about another option. In case of the one option is working, then you will be taking with another option. Third, you tried with attribute. If it is work, not worried another option. So single attribute is not working. In case of single attribute not working, then you will get another option. In case of single attribute is not working, then you will taking with another option. So that is how we got this particular single attribute and then taking with multiple attribute. So in case of multiple attribute, so this particular attribute, you can number of attributes. You can provide n number of attributes by referring the highlighted one, by referring with the highlighted one, whatever attributes are there, you can refer that particular attributes here. Now, let's cross check that either it has been correct or not. Let's cross check that either it has been correct or not. Now we can see that considering that taking with Control F, if I click on enter, if I click on enter, which one is highlighting? If I click on enter, which one is highlighting? Login button. We return with the xpath. We return with the xpath for login button. We return with the xpath, that is login button, which you will be taking with identified that particular object. This is how you need to be taking care about in working with all the techniques here. So the one you got mentioning the xpath with single attribute. Another one xpath with multiple attribute. What is the one more option? What is the one more option? xpath with text attribute. See the names here. With the help of the names itself, you can clearly understand It is mentioning the single attribute. Meaning of single? Meaning of single? Only one. So the meaning of single considering that one. You will be referring with any one attribute and you will be identifying the object. Then you got multiple attribute. Meaning of multiple? Meaning of multiple? More than one. So need to be taking care about more than one attributes. Then you will be considering that writing the xpath. In a similar way, what is another technique? What is another one? xpath with text attribute. So we got option of xpath with text attribute. How we need to work. How we need to be working with xpath with text attribute. Let's see that. For that, to understand that particular concept, now you can see here. To work with this particular concept, you can try the option. What is the text you got here? In the top. Welcome Naresh IT. So you got an option of welcome Naresh IT. I'm just doing with right click. Once you've done the right click, what is option? What is option you got? Inspect. Just click on that. Now we can see here. Refer the highlighted one. In the highlighted one, any name option? Name option? Yes or no? Any ID option? ID. Name not available. ID not available. Class? Class option. Okay. So we cannot work with name, we cannot work with ID, and we cannot work with class. What is another option? What is another option? Taking with xpath. So another option you will be taking with xpath. While working with the xpath, you can see this highlighted one. Is there any attribute here? No. As we don't have any attribute, this particular one, just this particular one, welcome Naresh IT. Can we consider it is in a text? That it can be welcome Naresh IT or 1, 2, 3, whatever it can be. Can we consider that is one text? Consider or not? We can consider as a text here. As we are consider it is in a text, what is the technique we can work? What is the technique we can work? xpath with text attribute. See the syntax here. See the syntax, how it will be done. Okay. Now we can see that you need to be taking with the syntax, mentioning the HTML tag name. HTML tag name. No @ symbol. Taking with text brackets equal to, you need to be provide text details. There is no @ symbol. You need to be mentioning the text brackets equal to, you need to be provide that particular text details. You need to be provide that particular text details here. Okay, right. Now, according to the syntax, according to this particular syntax, taking with 2 forward slashes, okay, providing with 2 forward slashes. What is the next syntax? HTML tag name. Refer the tag name. What is the tag name we got? LI. We are not worried what are all those things here. As simple as whatever the tag name is there, you will provide that particular tag name. Whatever the tag name is there, you can provide that particular tag name. Okay. Then you will be taking with square brackets. Then you will be taking with square brackets, considering the taking with text, which need to be get considering the text equal to in a single code. In a single code, what do you have to provide? You need to be provide that particular text details. You need to be provide that particular text details. We need to be consider either it has been correct or not. We need to be get confirmed that it is correct or not. To confirm that which we are taking with this particular xpath. We are taking with this particular xpath and need to be get provided. Considering that, sorry. So which you will be taking with inspect. Now from the keyboard, what do we have to press? Control F. Now we can provide that particular xpath. Highlighting it. Oh. The application, not in the HTML code. See the application. Let me click on enter. Highlighted or not? If I click on enter, highlighting or not? It has been highlighting. So that is what you need to be get mentioning that the xpath which you have been written is correct one. So in a similar way, you guys try for one xpath. Just assume that you guys can try for 4683. So 4683. This object you want to identify. Now this is what your highlighted one. Based on that highlighted one, can you write the xpath? Just write it. See that highlighted one. Based on that particular highlighted one, you can try with xpath. Not visible, huh? Now assume that is what your highlighted one. Based on that highlighted one, you need to write with the xpath. Just see that what is xpath you can write. Written? Which technique you will try? XPath with text attribute. Why text attribute? We don't have any other attributes. There is no other attributes. Only text is available. There is no other attributes. Only text is available. Because of that, you will be taking with XPath with text attribute. Okay. Now, what is the tag name we got? What is the tag name? TD. Okay. I'll be taking this tag name is TD. Now here, you will be mentioning that taking with tag name is TD. And then considering that taking with text equal to in a single code, you need to be provided. Now, let's see that working or not. Let's see that working or not. You can just take with Control F, provide that. If I click on enter, which one is highlighting? 4683. If I click on enter, it is highlighting with 4683. So this is how we got a possibility in working with xpath with single attribute, xpath with multiple attribute, which you will be taking with, which need to be get mentioning about taking with xpath with text attribute. In a similar way, what is another option? What is another technique? What is another technique, guys? xpath with contains. You need to be taking care about xpath with contains. We got two things here. The one you will be considering the xpath with contains. Let's see that how we can work. Right. Now, the syntax will be followed. xpath with contains. The slight difference will be there. See that. 2 forward slashes and then taking with HTML tag name. Square brackets. You will be writing contains, mentioning about contains, which you will be taking with attribute type, comma, which you will be taking with attribute value. Just same as your single attribute only. So here you are using with the option of contains. Just you are using the option is contains. You will be providing that particular HTML tag name. You will be providing that particular HTML tag name and then taking with contains and mentioning the attribute type, comma, attribute value. Now you can see here. So how exactly we can work on these things here? As simple as taking with 2 forward slashes. Let me try. Let me take password. Let me try password text box. That you will be taking with right click and inspect. Getting the highlighted one? Getting or not? Okay. Now we can see. What is the tag name we got? Input. Input is tag name. So considering the input is the tag name here. Now you need to be get mention contains. You need to be get mention contains and then mentioning about symbol, name, comma. In a single code you will mention. In a single code you need to be provide that particular name. What is the name we got? TXT password. The TXT password need to be get provided. So this is how you will be writing. XPath with contains. This is how you will be writing XPath with contains. This is how you need to be get comfortable. This is how you need to be get more comfortable with XPath. Now we can see here. The one you got written for TXT password. Now let me give some HTML code. This is clear button and then taking with inspect. Now this is, you got the highlighted one. So this is you got highlighted code. So based on this highlighted code, what is the XPath you can write? First you guys can try. What are the XPath you will try? Now assume that is a HTML code. Based on that HTML code, based on that HTML code, you can write xpath. Just see that what are the options you can use. Write the xpath. No, you can write it. Whatever techniques you are comfortable, whatever the techniques you are comfortable, you can try with that. Just see that what are the techniques you can write. Online students also, just see that what are the xpath they can write. Okay, right. So what are the options I can try? You can go with xpath with single attribute. Another one, xpath with multiple attribute. Another one, xpath with contains. Text attribute, can we work? Can we work with text attribute? No, we cannot work with the text attribute. It can go with single attribute, multiple attribute, or which you will be taking with contains here. I'm just taking with value option. I'm just taking with value option. Now taking with 2 forward slashes and considering the input which you will be taking with contains, which you will be taking with contains. Contains of taking with name, taking with name. So in a single code, you need to be get provide name. So you need to be get provide name that you will be considering the txt password. So you need to be get mentioning the txt password. So whatever attribute you want to use, you can try based on your comfortable. This is clear, right? Clear. Okay. So let me try with that is button, right? You can try with value. What is the value? C capital R. So we'll be considering that clear. Okay. Now we can see that Control F. Still not working, huh? One bracket is missing. Now you can see that. Click on enter, highlighting it. Which one is highlighting? Clear button. So this is how we got a possibility in taking care about identifying that particular respective object. So the one he got single attribute, the one he got multiple attribute, text attribute, and then contains. What is the last one? What is the last one? XPath with starts with. Now you can see here. So now just you can see that as simple as this particular starts with, just everything will be the same. In a place of contains, you will be taking with starts with. In a place of contains, you will be taking with, starts with. You need to be get mentioning about xpath with, starts with here. So this is how we got a possibility. This is how we got an option in working with xpath with contains. We got an option of xpath with contains and then taking with xpath with, starts with here. Which option need to be used? Which option need to be used? It's totally depends on which option need to be used. It's totally depends on the tester. In Selenium, we got these options. There is no restriction or there is no condition saying that for this application, this technique, for another application, another technique. We are not having all these kind of things here. So as simple as identifying the object is our target. Identifying the object is our target. Which technique we have to use it, which option need to use it, it depends on that particular tester comfortable. If you want to be get cross-check, just in a place of this, you can provide starts with. So if you click on enter, highlighting it, highlighting or not? Which one is highlighting? Clear button. So this is how we got a possibility. This is right. So this is how we got a possibility in working with different types of the xpath. So now see the whole understanding. What is the meaning of xpath? Meaning of xpath? Group of nodes. How many types of xpath? 2 types. What are those? Absolute xpath, relative xpath. Meaning of absolute xpath? Starts with HTML tag. Meaning of relative xpath? Starts with attribute. Under relative, we got attribute. What is the first? Single attribute. Contain. Okay. What difference? What make you different? Let's say that. What exactly make you the difference? Let's understand what exactly that particular difference. For that, I'm just taking with password. Now we can first I'm providing input @name equal to in a single code txt password. Now see the understanding. See the difference here. If I click on enter, highlighting it, which one is highlighting? Password. Okay. I'm doing a very small modification. Just I removed D. Just I removed one letter. I removed one character of D. Clicking on enter. Is that highlighting? I'm clicking on enter. Is that highlighting? No. So the meaning is, if you are working single attribute, multiple attribute, text attribute, it's mandatory need to be matched with 100%. It's mandatory the name what you provided, the name what you are providing, it has to be matched with 100% with the HTML code. Here he did not mention D. Here D is available. It is not matching it. Not able to identify. Okay. The same thing. Let me try with contains. Now, let me try with contains. I will be taking with contains @name in a single code txt password. Okay. Let me click on enter. Highlighting it. Highlighting or not? Okay. Doing the small modification. I'm just removing the D. I deleted one letter. I deleted that character. I'm clicking on enter. Highlighting? Highlighting or not? Got the difference? In case of single attribute, multiple attribute, text attribute, it has to be matched with 100%. But here, if it is not matching with 100%, still able to identify that particular object. Okay. Let me try to remove one more letter. I'm deleting R. Click on enter. Highlighting it? Highlighting or not? Okay. Let me try to delete in the starting. I'm removing the T. Click on enter. Highlighting it? Highlighting or not? Okay. Let me remove in between, middle. Working it? Working or not? No. It will look into that, the series of characters. See the technique. What is the technique you are working? Contains here. This xpath, these characters has been contains or not. Looking into that. So that series is matching. That characters are matching. Then it is trying to identify that particular object. So that is what you will be mentioning that. That is what you will be mentioning that xpath with contains. In a similar way, you will be taking with starts with. In a similar way, you will be taking with starts with. I can see here. @ symbol, taking with name and then considering the txt password. Click on enter. Highlighting it? Highlighting or not? Okay. Now we can see here. Now we can see that. I'm just removing one letter. Click on enter. Highlighting it? Okay. Remove one more letter. Click on enter. Highlighting it? Then what make a difference of contains and starts with? Let me remove in the starting. If I click on enter, highlighting it? Why it is not highlighting? Starts with. The meaning is this name has to be start with the character of X. So there is no name which is starting with the character of X. So because of that, it is not identifying that particular object. So this is what it will be mentioning that. This is what it will be mentioning about considering that xpath with starts with and then xpath with contains. So that it will mention name and then ID and then class and then xpath. Very regularly you will be working with. Very regularly you will be working with these particular 4 options here. Remaining things, just syntax you have to take care of it. You will not work with these options. In case of tag name, In case of tag name, considering the HTML tag name @ attribute type equal to attribute value. Same as xpath with attribute. Same as xpath with attribute. Why we got this name? What you are providing here? HTML tag name. As we are providing with the tag name, we can considering like the one technique tag name here. What is the difference? You will understand. When you're writing our actual Selenium programs, you will understand. For today, just consider that this is the syntax need to be followed. And then CSS. I'm not going with any examples. It's not like mandatory. Just you have to look into the syntax. Okay. Meaning of CSS? Cascading style sheet. So the syntax you will follow. The syntax you will follow. HTML tag name @ attribute type equal to. In a single code, you need to be provide attribute value. Okay. I'm not going with any examples. You never work with CSS here. Just in case of interviewer is asking, need to be comfortable in giving the syntax of HTML tag name square brackets @ attribute type equal to attribute value. In case of linked text and then partial linked text. In case of linked text and then taking with partial linked text. How you will work? How you can understand? How you can work with linked text or partial linked text? As simple as the simple understanding. Okay. See the very simple understanding. See this particular option. Having the logout option, do the right click, inspect. Any name option, any ID option, any class option. What is the technique we can work? Why link text? What is the tag name? What is the tag name? A. According to the HTML. A for apple. Not apple. A for anchor. This A for anchor tag. Meaning of anchor tag? Link. So by that we can use the technique. We can use the technique considering that link text here. We can use a technique considering the link text here. So this is, you can provide the whole text. This is, you can provide partially. If you're providing partially also, it will be taking with identifying that particular object. So as simple as in the HTML code, if you're having anchor tag, then we can consider utilizing with technique of linked text or partial linked text. Linked text need to be matched with 100%. Partial linked text matching with partially, it will be able to identify that particular object. So this is what we got an option of taking with object identification. So for the whole Selenium automation, you need to be get comfortable these object identification. Now we'll take the help of these option. For these object identification, you will combine with your favorite subject. What is it? Core Java. So from tomorrow, we'll combine these two and we'll start writing with Selenium program. So while attending the tomorrow session, please take care about all the basics, all the core Java basics here, and particularly take care about the concept of interface and exception handling. Knowing it? Exception handling. Interface concept, exception handling. Take care about these things along with that your OOPS concepts also. As simple as take care about up to OOPS concepts here. So from tomorrow, we'll start our actual Selenium program. Okay? Carry on. Thank you. Online students having the questions.